Are you kidding me? The nurse flung the folder so hard that the pages scattered across the floor. This child is nothing like what you expected. The room fell into a crushing silence. The millionaire yanked his chair back and lunged for the bed, trying to see into the bundle. The homeless mother turned away and shielded the newborn. Her shoulders trembled, yet a strange calm flashed across her face as if she knew more than anyone. The doctor exhaled and shot the man a cold look. Not here. Not now. We need to talk without witnesses. The millionaire flared, I have a right to know everything. His voice cracked like a strike. Instead of an answer he caught the clipped whisper of two nurses at the door, if this gets out, there will be a scandal. He slapped the door open. Everyone out. Cameras in the corridor were already raised, a mic grazed his shoulder. Mr. Harper, are you sponsoring this mother? Is the child yours? Is this tied to the foundation? Questions fired like nails. He shut the door with his back and turned on the doctor. 30 seconds. Give me something I can live with. Midnight, the doctor said, low. Service entrance. Come alone. He slid a sealed gray envelope into Harper's palm. Bring this unopened. The mother's eyes flicked to the envelope, then to Harper's face, as if measuring which of them would break first. Harper pocketed it and pulled his phone. Haley, stall the press, he barked to his assistant. Tell legal to pull the settlement draft. No statements. He ended the call and met the mother's gaze. What did you agree to? She bit her lip, then shook her head. You promised you'd fix it, she said. Not here. Footsteps piled up outside again. The handle rattled. The doctor moved to block the door. There's a discharge to sign, he said quickly. If you want this not to explode today, you'll take it and leave quietly. He pushed a clipboard forward. On top lay a hospital bracelet with a mismatched number, cut and taped. Harper's jaw tightened. He signed with a fast, neat hand, then slid the bracelet into his pocket. I'm not walking away, he told the mother. Tonight. In the corridor he lowered his head and carved a path through microphones, ignoring the questions about the board vote, the charity gala, the rumored IPO date. A reporter shouted, Did the clinic take your money to fast-track her case? He didn't look back. Outside, the air bit cold. His driver pulled up, Harper waved him off and started walking. Midnight was hours away, and every minute between now and then would be a battlefield. Investors, lawyers, headlines. He tightened his coat and texted one line to his CFO, hold the wire. Then, to himself, a vow, if the envelope burned his hands, he would still open it only when the doctor said. Behind him, somewhere above the city, a single window of the maternity wing glowed. He didn't know who was watching, from the bed, from the doorway, from a camera lens, but he knew this. Whatever he decided at midnight would choose the kind of man he would be tomorrow. Harper didn't go home. He walked until the city blurred around him, until the night pressed in with its cold certainty. The envelope in his pocket felt heavier with every step. He ducked into a quiet cafe, ordered nothing, and sat alone at the corner table. His phone buzzed. Haley again. The board's demanding answers. They've heard rumors about a child. They want you in the morning. He typed back, no board until I decide. Clear the schedule. Then he deleted the message before sending, leaned back, and for the first time that day, hesitated. Every instinct told him not to wait until midnight. But waiting was also strategy. The door chimed. A man in a leather jacket slipped in, scanned the cafe, then headed straight for Harper's table. He sat without asking. You don't know me, the man said quietly. But you need to listen. If you go to that meeting tonight, you won't walk out the same. Harper's eyes narrowed. Who sent you? The stranger slid a phone across the table. On the screen was a grainy photo of the doctor shaking hands with one of Harper's competitors, the same man currently circling to take his company public first. Ask yourself why a newborn needs an NDA. Harper's jaw clenched. He pushed the phone back. What do you want? The man leaned in. Not what I want. What you want. Survival. You can open that envelope right now, here. Or you can keep dancing to their tune and watch your empire burn. Silence stretched. Harper reached into his coat, fingers brushing the sealed edge of the envelope. His chest tightened. This was the first real fork: obey the rules of secrecy, or take control. He stood abruptly, chair scraping loud against the floor. Not here. Not like this. The man's hand caught his wrist. Then at least know this: you're already being watched. Harper tore free and strode out into the night. Cameras? Competitors? Even his own board? He couldn't tell who the enemy was anymore. All he knew was that at midnight, he'd have to choose between the truth he feared and the power he had built. And the city, restless and humming, seemed to whisper that both couldn't survive. By dawn Harper had barely slept. The city was waking, but for him the night hadn't ended. He sat in his office tower overlooking the skyline, the unopened envelope on the desk between stacks of contracts. He didn't touch it. Not yet. Haley stormed in without knocking. The board has called an emergency session. They're whispering about misuse of funds. Someone leaked hospital records, your name's all over them. Harper stood. Who leaked it? Does it matter? You've got hours to prove you're not compromised. Otherwise they'll vote you out. She hesitated, then placed a file on his desk. And it gets worse. One of your biggest investors, Grayson, demanded a call. He says he knows what the child means. Harper froze. Grayson wasn't just an investor, he was a kingmaker in their industry. If Grayson turned, Harper's empire would collapse overnight. He grabbed his coat. Set up the call. Now. Minutes later, Harper's face reflected on a screen in the darkened boardroom. Grayson's voice came through, gravelly but sharp. You've always played risks, Harper. But this isn't business. This is survival. That baby isn't a scandal, it's leverage. And if you don't use it, I will. Harper's pulse spiked. You don't know the details. I don't need details, Grayson replied. I need results. Tonight, before the midnight bell, you bring me proof, or I'll deliver my own version to the press. The call ended with a dead click. Harper leaned on the table, sweat tracing his temple. Now the stakes weren't just truth or reputation, it was a power struggle against someone who never lost. Haley whispered, "What's in the envelope?" He clenched his fist. We find out at midnight. Before she could argue, his phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. If you want to keep her safe, don't go to the hospital tonight. Attached was a blurred photo of the homeless mother stepping out of a taxi, the baby in her arms. Harper's breath caught. Someone already had her. Harper gripped the phone until his knuckles whitened. The photo burned into his mind, the woman, the child, exposed in daylight. He shoved the device into Haley's hands. Trace it. Now. She tapped furiously, then shook her head. Encrypted. Whoever sent this knows what they're doing. Harper paced the boardroom. Every second felt like quicksand. He wanted to storm the hospital, to rip the truth from the doctor's mouth. But the message had shifted the board, he wasn't the only one chasing answers. Someone else already controlled the narrative. He drew a breath, steadying himself. Set a car. We're going. Minutes later, they pulled up outside the maternity wing. Paparazzi lined the street, flashes exploding. Harper pulled his collar up and pushed through. Inside, he found the ward sealed. 2 security guards blocked the hallway. No entry, one said flatly. Harper stepped closer, eyes burning. I own half the donors that keep this building alive. Move. The guard hesitated, then stood aside. Harper stormed down the corridor, Haley on his heels. At the end, the doctor waited, hands shoved deep in his coat pockets. You weren't supposed to come early, the doctor muttered. Where is she? Harper demanded. The doctor glanced at the closed door behind him. Gone. Discharged an hour ago. Harper's stomach dropped. To where? The doctor shook his head. She left instructions. Said you'd understand once you read the envelope. Rage flared. He slammed the wall with his fist. No more games. Tell me, what's wrong with the child? For the first time, the doctor's mask cracked. He lowered his voice, words trembling. Not wrong. Different. And that difference could cost you everything you've built. Before Harper could press further, Haley burst in, phone raised. They leaked it. Photos of you, her, the baby, already online. Harper's blood iced. The doctor leaned close. You wanted the truth? Midnight was supposed to protect you. But now, the choice comes sooner. Much sooner. Harper turned, staring through the ward's glass panel. Outside, a swarm of cameras pressed against the glass, chanting his name. And in the reflection, faint but undeniable, he saw a figure in a leather jacket watching from the street, the same man from the cafe. The boardroom felt colder than the hospital corridors. Harper stood at the head of the long glass table, but for the first time in years, he didn't own the room. Screens along the wall showed headlines, Harper's secret child. Scandal at City Hospital. Every outlet carried the same grainy photos. One director leaned forward. You assured us the foundation was clean. Now you're tied to a homeless mother and an unidentified baby. Investors are spooked. Our stock opened down 12%. Harper's throat tightened, but he forced his voice steady. You'll get your answers tonight. Murmurs rippled down the table. Grayson's voice cut through on video link. Tonight is too late. Either you control this story, or I will. Harper's palms itched. He had built this empire brick by brick, clawed his way from nothing, only to watch it dangle over ruin because of one night in a hospital. His instinct screamed to fight, but which enemy first? The press, the board, Grayson, or the secrets in that envelope? He slammed his fist on the table. Enough. This company stands because I never fold under pressure. I'll face the press myself. Haley caught his arm as the room emptied. If you go out there unprepared, they'll tear you apart. He met her eyes, softer now. If I hide, I've already lost. That afternoon he stood on the marble steps of headquarters. Reporters swarmed, microphones stretching like spears. Flashbulbs fired. Mr. Harper, is the child yours? Did you pay off the hospital? Is this why the IPO is delayed? He raised a hand. I will answer everything. But understand this, truth cannot be rushed by headlines. It was a brave line, and for a moment the crowd stilled. A flicker of control returned. Yet just as he turned away, a voice pierced the air. Then why was she seen leaving your penthouse this morning? Gasps, camera shutters, a rush of bodies. Harper spun. Someone thrust forward a fresh photo, blurry but damning, the homeless mother stepping through the mirrored lobby of his building, the baby clutched tight. His chest dropped. He hadn't seen her, hadn't brought her there. Which meant someone else had. And now the world believed it was him. Night fell heavy over the city. Harper sat alone in his penthouse office, the envelope still untouched on the desk. His reflection in the glass was pale, worn. He had faced hostile takeovers, court battles, even bankruptcy once, but never a war fought on so many fronts at once. The intercom buzzed. Haley's voice, tense, "Grayson's here." He didn't call first. Harper's jaw clenched. He straightened his tie, though his hands trembled, and opened the door. Grayson stepped in like he owned the place, his tailored coat brushing past. "You've lost control, Harper," Grayson said smoothly. "The photos, the woman in your building, this is blood in the water. By morning, your empire will be mine unless you give me what I want." Harper steadied himself. "You don't know what's in that envelope." Grayson smirked. "I don't need to. I know enough. The child is the key, whether you claim it or disown it. Either way, I win. Unless," he leaned in, voice dropping. "Unless you partner with me now. Share the secret before midnight. Together, we bury the rest." Harper's chest burned with fury. "You think I'd sell out my own name to you?" Grayson's eyes glinted. "Not your name. Your silence. There's a difference." He slid a USB drive onto the desk. "Proof the doctor has been on my payroll for months. Open it, and you'll see everything. But remember, every minute you hesitate, the story spreads." Harper stared at the small silver stick. His body screamed to collapse into the chair, to give in, but he forced himself upright. He reached for the drive, then stopped, hand shaking. "This isn't a partnership," Harper rasped. "It's blackmail." Grayson only smiled. "Call it survival. Midnight is no longer your deadline, it's mine." With that, he left, the door clicking shut behind him. Harper slumped against the desk, sweat dripping, pulse hammering. He felt the walls closing in. The envelope. The USB. The mother. 3 truths circling him, each one ready to shatter his world. And then his phone buzzed again. A new message, no number, "Don't trust the doctor. He's not meeting you tonight." "I am." Harper arrived at the service entrance 5 minutes before midnight. The alley was slick with rain, shadows swallowing the walls. He clutched the envelope in one hand, the weight of it like a stone dragging him down. A figure stepped forward, not the doctor, but the man in the leather jacket. The same one from the cafe. "You got my message," he said. Harper's heart thudded. "Where's the doctor?" The man's smile was cold. "He made his choice. He's not your problem anymore." Before Harper could react, 2 black SUVs screeched into the alley. Doors flung open, cameras, floodlights, shouting reporters. Flashes blinded him as voices overlapped. "Mr. Harper, what's in the envelope? Is this child your heir? Did you pay for silence?" Harper's stomach sank. It was a setup. The man in the jacket raised his hands like a director framing a scene. "Congratulations, Harper. You're the headline." Fury boiled in Harper's chest. He shoved through the reporters, but one grabbed the envelope. He wrestled it back, papers nearly tearing inside. Security finally forced a path, but the damage was done. Every outlet had their footage. Back inside his car, soaked and shaking, Harper pressed the envelope to his chest. His empire was bleeding. His enemies had cornered him. And worst of all, he'd walked right into it. Haley, pale beside him, whispered, "It's over." "No," Harper rasped. His eyes, red and exhausted, still burned with defiance. "Not yet. They think they've broken me. But they don't know what I'm willing to lose." For a moment, she believed him. For a moment, there was light in the ruin. Then her phone lit up. She froze. "It's her," Haley whispered. On the screen was a live feed, grainy but unmistakable, the homeless mother, clutching the baby, standing on a rooftop edge with city lights behind her. And a voice over the feed, "If you want them alive, come alone." Harper raced through the night streets, headlights streaking across wet asphalt. The live feed still burned in his mind, the mother on the rooftop, the baby in her arms, the ultimatum. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Every choice now carried a cost he couldn't measure. He reached the building, a half-finished high-rise overlooking the river. Floodlights from distant construction sites threw jagged shadows across the rooftop. At the top, she stood exactly as on the screen, wind tearing at her hair, the child pressed to her chest. "Why are you doing this?" Harper shouted, voice raw. Her eyes met his, tired, haunted, but steady. "Because no one told you the truth. Not the doctor. Not your board. Not even me. You deserve to know, but if I give it now, it destroys us both." He stepped closer, palms raised. "Then tell me. Whatever this is, I can handle it." She shook her head, tears glistening. "It's not about what you can handle. It's about what they'll do if you claim what's yours." Before he could ask, a figure emerged from the stairwell, the man in the leather jacket. His voice cut through the wind. "Enough theatrics. Hand over the child, and this ends tonight." Harper's blood surged. He positioned himself between them. "You're not touching them." The man smirked. "Still playing hero, Harper? Open the envelope. Right here, right now. Show him why that child matters." The mother's voice cracked, "Don't. If you open it now, you'll lose everything." Harper's hand trembled over the sealed flap. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed, choice against choice, each path a ruin. Then, with a sudden move, he shoved the envelope deep into his coat and pulled the mother and child behind him. "No more games," he said. "If answers come, they come on my terms." The man's smile vanished. He snapped his fingers. From the shadows, more figures stepped onto the rooftop, faces half hidden, lenses glinting. Cameras. Witnesses. A trap again, but larger, deadlier. And then the baby cried, loud, piercing, echoing across the night. The sound froze everyone in place. Harper's heart slammed. Because in that cry, he heard something no ordinary child should carry. The rooftop froze around that single cry. Cameras whirred, shutters clicked, but no one moved. Harper held his ground, the mother clutching the baby behind him. The man in the leather jacket raised a hand, signaling the crowd of watchers. "You hear it too," he said softly. "That sound isn't just a cry. It's proof. Proof that changes everything." Harper's chest heaved. "Proof of what?" The man's grin widened. "That child isn't a scandal. It's a weapon." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. The mother shouted, "Stop. You'll kill us all if you say more." She tried to run, but two figures blocked her path. Harper spun, fury breaking through exhaustion. "Enough of your games. If you think I'll let you turn an innocent into leverage." The man cut him off. "Innocent? You really don't know, do you? The doctor never told you whose blood runs in that child." He gestured toward the cameras. "And when the world learns, your empire, your legacy, every dollar in your pocket, gone." The words landed like a blade. Harper staggered, memories flashing, meetings in secret, deals struck in shadows, choices made years ago that now threatened to collapse. The mother's voice trembled. "I begged you not to look for answers, because once you see them, there's no way back." For the first time, Harper's strength faltered. His knees nearly buckled. Everything he built, his company, his reputation, his future, teetered on a cliff's edge. Then, through the chaos, Haley's voice rang out. She had pushed past the crowd, face pale but resolute. "I traced the leak. It wasn't the press. It wasn't Grayson. It was your own board. They set you up, Harper. They've been selling you out for months." Shock rippled through him. Betrayal wasn't just outside, it was inside, at the heart of everything. The man in the jacket raised the envelope high. Harper hadn't even seen it leave his coat. Cameras zeroed in. "Midnight has come," the man declared. And with it, the truth. He tore at the seal. Harper lunged forward, voice raw, "Don't you dare." The rooftop erupted in shouts, flashes, the baby's cry echoing like thunder. And then, silence, thick and deadly, just before the secret spilled open. The man in the leather jacket tore the seal, pages fluttered in the wind. Cameras zoomed, the world holding its breath. Harper lunged, grabbing the papers midair, his voice roaring above the storm of shouts. Enough. The rooftop stilled. For the first time, Harper wasn't running, dodging, or stalling. He stood tall, rain soaking through his suit, eyes locked on the crowd. He raised the envelope high. "You all want the truth? Then hear it, from me." His hands shook as he read. Not medical reports. Not scandals. A contract. Signed years ago. His board had secretly funneled foundation funds to Grayson's ventures, hiding the trail under Harper's name. And the child? Not a scandal at all, but listed as the sole heir to a trust Harper never approved. Gasps swept through the rooftop. Harper's chest tightened, then steadied. They had used the baby as a pawn, but in doing so, they left fingerprints all over their betrayal. He dropped the papers at his feet, letting the cameras capture every line. "This isn't about a child. This is about power, and those who thought they could control me with lies." His voice grew stronger. "I built this empire from nothing. And I will burn every rotten piece of it before I let them take what isn't theirs." The crowd erupted, reporters shouting. Grayson, watching from a screen in the corner, slammed a fist on his desk. The man in the jacket faded back into the shadows, his trap undone. Harper turned to the mother. Her face was wet with tears, the baby still pressed to her chest. He lowered his voice. "You don't have to run anymore. They can't touch you now." She searched his eyes, then nodded. For the first time, she looked free. Haley stepped forward, whispering fiercely, "You've just flipped the board's game on them. Now you have the upper hand." Harper looked out over the city, lights glittering like a million watching eyes. He felt the weight lift, the fear, the secrecy, the doubt. All gone. What remained was choice, pure and unbroken. He raised his voice once more. "Let them write their headlines. Let them chase their stories. But know this, I decide how this ends. And tonight, it ends with me still standing." The cameras captured it all, the defiance, the strength, the man unbroken. The world would wake to chaos, but also to a new Harper, scarred, tested, and stronger than ever. As dawn broke over the skyline, Harper turned away from the flashes. The baby's cry softened into quiet, almost peaceful. The war wasn't over, but he had survived the night. And for the first time in years, survival felt like victory.